Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at Krosmaster Arena. This is actually a really old game. Came out in 2012, I think. I guess it's not really that old, but when you think about board games, compared to most of the newer stuff I play, it has been replaced since then with a 2.0 edition, which I'll be doing a video of when I get to it. But for now, we're going to look at the original. It's a really cool arena-style player versus player game where you take control of these really cool pre-painted miniatures, and they all have unique abilities and things, and you're going to be fighting against another team. Comes with some amazing little 3D cardboard scenery, which at the time was really cool, and I think it still is. And also has a ton of tokens in there, 8 different characters to choose from, and then there's packs that you can get. Little packs that come with 4 characters in them. There's also individual packs of blind characters, so you can add new characters to your game. There's also a online version of this right now, which is what got me into this. I started playing the online version, which plays exactly the same as the board game, which is really cool because it's a great way to learn how to play. As well as every time you buy new characters, they come with a code that you can enter in the online game to get access to those characters in that game as well. So that's also really cool. Anyway, we're going to get right in and take a look. So the first thing we have here is our rule book. And I didn't actually read this rule book, I will be honest. I read through the 2.0 rule book because that's the current new rules. And I played the game online to learn how to play, so I can't tell you much about this one. As far as I know, though, it's pretty straightforward. It looks, from what I've seen, very similar to the original. And one of the really cool features about it is the way, and there's a token in there, is the way that it explains the game. Where most games have just walls of text you have to read through and learn everything, this game actually has training scenarios that you play through. And this one starts you with 2 characters and you face off, and it goes through the basic rules of combat for a single 2-player game with just using the punch skill. Then you go to the next page, you get a slightly bigger map, a little bit more terrain in there, and it goes on to tell you about special abilities and how they work. And then you go on to the next one, and you get an even bigger arena, and now you're into summoning and bringing on additional units into the game. And so on. Then they do multiple characters. So it's a step-by-step like learning process and how to play the game. And then finally, I think you do a full 2-on-2 game with all of your abilities. And yeah, it's a little bit different than the new book, but pretty much the same. And then the very final one tells you to set up for a full-fledged game using the game board. And then they have some advanced rules and all the items available in the store are in the back. And there's some sections in here to clarify some things as well. But I really do like the way that they used to teach you the game. But as I said, I think the best way to learn how to play the game is going to be to try the online version. And that's pretty cool because it shows you what abilities your characters can use and when, what the ranges of those abilities are. The hexes on the map light up, or the squares on the map light up, and it tells you how far you can use all those abilities and stuff. Next we have our game board. These are pretty cool. Standard board, I think. Pretty decent size, double-sided. So you have 2 different maps with a little bit of variety. And the squares on the board, they call them cells in this game, have various icons on them, like these tree stumps are where you place trees. These little bushes, you put bushes on. There's coins. Let's see if I can fold this up a little so I can get it closer to the camera. There we go. And that map has a weird glare on it. So you have these coins. There's a single coin here, double coins there. Those you're actually going to put coins on there that can be picked up to use to buy things. These little footprint icons, depending on the side of the board you're using, these first 2 rows are where your characters start, and they can start at any location with those feet. So you can rotate and play depending on which side of the board you're on. And then these little demon heads are actually the store where you can go to buy new equipment throughout the course of a game. Then there's these wood crates, which are scenery that you can stand on, and so on. Very cool board. It's got this like linen finish to it. It's weird, but it's held up pretty well so far. And this was a used copy of the first edition here that I got, so looks to be holding up well. And of course, everything in here is a mess because I flipped the box over, but it has a neat little compartments to put all your guys in. Each of your characters come with these character cards. They have full art on the back, direct from the this is actually based on a French cartoon anime. Some people call it anime. I always thought anime was Japanese, so I don't think there's such a thing as French anime. But so on the front side of your cards, you have your character level up here. You have 12 of these to spend to build your team. Everybody in the starter set comes with 3, so you can mix and match anybody you want to make a team. On here you have your initiative. The higher the initiative, the faster the players go. The team with the highest initiative gets the first turn. Then we have our movement points. This is how many cells on the board you can move. Your hit points, this is how much damage you can take before you die. And then your ability points, these are the points you use to activate the various abilities on the lower part of your card. For our abilities here, there's a couple different symbols on here. Like this one has a range 2 to 4. It needs a line of sight. And keywords down here do a bunch of different things. This will cost 4, so she has 6 ability points. She can cast this, have 2 points left over for something else. It does type of damage over here, the number, so it'll do 1 damage, and that's a fire icon behind it. Then you have a healing word, which is 0 to 3 range, 0 meaning you can target yourself. This one only takes 3, so she can actually do this twice a turn, because she has 6. And this one heals 1. Then there's a little bit of fluff about the character. And on the bottom, if they have any special powers or keywords, like this guy has dodge, they'll appear down there on the bottom. Each character is different, which is kind of cool. Some of their different strengths and weaknesses. Some are ranged classes, some are melee classes. The first girl we were looking at there was a healer, and so on. And there's hundreds of different characters to choose from. The box game here comes with 8, which is enough to get you started. So the first thing we'll look here is our actual characters. The character models are cool. They have the big chibi heads. Pretty good size though. They're about double the size of the Arcadia Quest characters. Love the fact that they're pre-painted. Some are better than others, but still cool. They're very interesting artwork. They match the artwork of the original show. But some of them are more intricate than others. But the paint jobs on them for being pre-painted are pretty cool. That goes a long way with me because I am not a fan of painting miniatures. So pre-painted is always a plus in my book. This guy is one of my favorites in here. His name's Bada Boom. He throws little bombs around that explode. He's actually got one in his hand there. He also has a pistol. Neat trick with him is to throw the bomb and then shoot it with the pistol so it goes off right then. Otherwise the bombs don't go off until his next turn, and people can move away from him and things like that unless you corner him in with them. But definitely cool miniatures. They have some very interesting art styles with a lot of them as well. And there's our healer girl whose card we went through. And somebody mentioned to me at first it almost looks like she's flicking you off, but she's not. She's using her index finger. So the rest of the box, it has storage for various things. I know I'm probably not going to keep these trays right now. They work great for the tokens, but as soon as you get more than the original 8 figures, it makes them a little harder to cram in there. And here we have our bag of comma coins. These are the coins that are going to go on the locations on the board. These can be picked up and you collect them throughout the course of the game to use them to buy these items and equipment here that come from the Demon Store. We have a set of custom dice. There's actually 8 in this set. And they're pretty straightforward the way they work. You have a critical, which does +1 extra damage to your attacks. You have a dodge, which allows you to break away from people easier. You have a shield, which you can use to block attacks. There's a lock, which if somebody's trying to run away from you, you can actually lock them in place and keep them from doing that. Then we have this one, which you can use as either a critical or a dodge, depending on if you're trying to roll one or the other. And finally, we have the tofu egg, which is a wild card. You can use it to set the die to any face you want. So whatever you need, basically. And the cool thing about this game is it's not a roll to attack game. There are dice involved, but every ability does a set amount, as is shown on the cards here. So this ability will always do 1, this ability will always do 3. Now on top of that, you get to roll a die, and you get that critical. You can add an extra damage to it. Then there's also the critical hit ability down here, which lets you actually roll an additional die. So you have the chance of getting +2 onto those, which is really cool. Defense works the same way. Every player rolls 1 die to defend. If you have the armor ability, you get a second die, and you're trying to get those shields to block damage. We have a bunch of tokens. They have little modifiers for plus and minus to your movement. There's ones for plus or minus to your abilities. And then their wound markers. This original game also came with a bunch of what look like blank wound markers. I'm not sure what they're used for. As I said, I haven't actually read through the book for this original game. I don't have anything like this in the 2.0 version, so it's either something that's been removed from the game, or these were from something else and just got tossed in there. Like I said, I did buy this used. Let me get into this section, which has all of our scenery in it. The trees are actually 2-part cardboard that slide together, but these have been glued. I glued all mine as well. The tree parts aren't that bad because they just slide together, but some of the more complicated stuff, especially in the 2.0 box, is worth gluing together because they do take some time. But you get a cool assortment of the trees. And some of them have flowers, different artwork on them. You get 8 trees in total. Then we have these smaller bushes and shrubs. And I love the fact that they did the artwork like this one has a tail sticking out that side and a head of a cat sticking out the other side. These ones block movement, but they don't block line of sight. You can see right over them, where the trees completely block your line of sight. Then you get 8 of the bushes as well. And then we have our wooden crates. And these are one of the ones that are worth gluing together. They snap together somewhat decent. The way these little corners and edges kind of fit together, and the top locks everything into place. But they can be frustrating to put together, take apart every time if you want. There's plenty of room in the box to leave them put together, but I just glued them for the extra stability, and that way you can stand the models on top of here without fear of them falling over. But you get 4 of those crates. And then we move on to tokens. So the first thing we have here are our Gallons of Glory, or GG tokens. Everybody's going to start the game with 6 of these. Throughout the course of the game, they're going to go up or down depending on what you do. And if you ever run out of these, you're eliminated from the game. There's a couple different ways to get more of these. First off, you can buy them at the demonic store for 12 comma coins. There's always one of these that are up for grabs at the beginning of the game. First person to earn one gets that, and then they all start coming from your opponent after that. So you can buy these and take them directly from your opponent, which is cool. The other way to get them is to kill an enemy Krosmaster, And when you do so, you get a number equal to their level. So for killing anybody from this base set, you're going to get 3 of these from your opponent, which means if you kill 2 players on your opponent's team before they do anything to gain more, you're going to eliminate their team. Some of the more powerful heroes can go up to level 6. There's weaker ones that go down to level 1. If you manage to kill a level 6 one, you can clear somebody out completely in one kill of their 6 starting ones. At the same time, those characters are a lot more powerful and harder to defeat. The game comes with a ton of random tokens. I think the new one only comes with the tokens that you actually need for the characters you're currently playing. This one came with a bunch of different ones. Some of them are stuff you can get from the store. Some of them are specific to specific characters. All of these tokens have an image on one side, the stats for whatever they are on the back side. So some of these, like the bombs, will tell you what they do on the back. There's even ones like this little guy that are summoned creatures, and they have their stats on the back. And these are used to represent various things that are going to come into play and take up spots on the board, whether it be pets of creatures or bombs and weapons and things like that. And they all have their different uses, but there's a bunch of those. So the next thing to look at are the demonic rewards. These are the things you can buy from the store. And throughout the course of the game, a couple of these are going to be revealed. And you can either buy the ones that are face up showing, or you can buy randomly from the top of the pile. There's a whole huge stack of them. These are the cheap ones at 3 comma coins. They're bronze. And then all of them are broken up into 3 different kinds. And to give an example, you have boosts, which are like potions, one-shot things. Their effects are immediate upon being used. So in this case, you would gain +1 to your movement. You lose 1 hit point, but you also gain 1 ability point. Then there's also buffs. Buffs are also one-time use. They gain you a specific thing for the turn. In this case, +1 fire damage and fire resistance. And then there are equipment. Equipment you buy gives you new abilities, and the stat line at the bottom, in this case, you get a shovel attack for 4 ability points. It's close combat, and it does 2 damage. And these various equipment things, once you get them into play and get their effects, the buffs are instant and go away at the end of the turn. The boosts are immediate, and then they're gone, where the equipment sticks around for the rest of the game. There are, of course, different levels and more powerful versions as you go up. The silver ones cost 6, those bronze ones cost 3, and the gold abilities here cost 12, but you get some pretty mean stuff out of the 12 deck, including pets and other equipment. And there's a look at everything that comes in the box set for the original Krosmaster Arena. Definitely a lot of stuff in there for what you're paying for the box, if you can get your hands on one. As I said, the 2.0 version is out now with the updated rulebook. Not too terribly much has changed, but again, the online game's the way to learn it. The scenery and stuff, I kind of like the extra trees and things you get in this one better. The newer set comes with these weird little cart things that, I don't know, they're just strange. They look cool on the table, but they're big and bulky and awkward. And overall, though, everything else you get is pretty much the same. I don't think you get nearly as many of the tokens, because they only give you the ones you need, not so much extra. But you still get the full stacks for the demonic store. You get the stack of GG tokens, and so on. There are, of course, upgrades if you're looking to really pimp out your game. I know a lot of people make 3D boards, which are really cool. Some amazing ones of them out there. You can get the comma coins in metal. They sell 3D terrain. Instead of the cardboard trees, you can get actual plastic trees. They kind of look like something out of Minecraft. They even make the GG tokens in metal, which came with the original Kickstarter. Overall, it's a really cool game. The base set comes with more than enough to get you started, though you are going to get addicted to these little guys pretty quickly. And there's box sets you can buy, as I said, and blind booster packs to expand. I went and bought the base game. That's why I bought this. First edition one was for the extra characters. The Queen of Tofu was one of my favorite ones. I like Bill Tell as well. Most of the character names are kind of an offshoot of things, like the guy with the bombs, his name Bada Boom, and so on. They have plenty of stuff you can get later in for variety, like these knight guys, which are kind of cool. Overall, though, if you're into PvP style games, this one's a really fun game. It does take a bit to set up because you got to put all the tokens and things out on the board. Not so bad once you glue your pieces together, though. The boxes and things, if you don't do that and you have to assemble these every turn, you're going to add considerably to your setup time. But other than that, though, it's just a fun arena combat game, and it's not overly complicated. A lot of it is skill and strategy and tactics and positioning and things. There is a die roll to it, but as I mentioned before, you're only ever rolling 1, maybe 2 dice. I can't think of any situation. There may possibly be some strange combo where you get 3, but the most you're ever going to roll in a standard is 1 for your normal and then 1 for a special ability. So the die rolls are there, but it's not a huge thing. It basically gives you the chance to do that little extra bit of damage or get that little extra blocking in, and adds just enough randomness where it's not completely swung by dice like some other games. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for our look at Krosmaster Arena. Keep an eye out. I do have the Krosmaster 2nd Edition video coming, as well as Krosmaster Quest, which is a new game, which is actually what got me into a lot of this to begin with. And that one's a completely different style, though. It's a RPG style game, where the 2.0 is basically this same exact game, but set up with new characters, new scenery, and things. Be sure to stay tuned for those. They'll be up here soon within the coming weeks. And in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.